Hey, my name is Zachary Will. I'm an Atlanta-based videographer, and today I just want to talk real quickly about Panasonic autofocus, and specifically autofocus on some of those older cameras like the GH5, the GH5S, the GH6, GH5 II, and kind of around that time period. A lot of these cameras, they came out when a lot of the other brands had phase detect autofocus, and these use contrast detect autofocus, and it led a lot of people to really say that the autofocus in these cameras was terrible, which is, you know, they're not the best cameras at autofocus, but I think in a lot of scenarios it's actually very usable. Right now I'm actually using the GH5S autofocus, and I think it's performing pretty well. You be the judge. But I have a couple tips on how to get the best performance out of these cameras for autofocus. The first tip that I would say is to use 60 frames per second when you're using the contrast autofocus in these cameras. Now, the reason why you would want that is because it gives it more frames to determine if something's in focus or not, and that means that it's able to catch focus much quicker, and it also means it's going to stay in focus much longer. Another important thing to remember when you're using contrast autofocus is that it uses the lighting and the actual image in order to determine whether something's in focus or not. And that means that if you are severely underexposed or overexposed, it's going to have less information in which to determine if the thing is in focus or not. And so sometimes lighting and just exposure can really impact how the autofocus is performing. It can actually perform pretty well in dark scenarios, but you're gonna have to up that ISO to keep it relatively bright of a scene in order for the contrast autofocus to really find objects. One of the scenarios where it doesn't do well is if the background is super overexposed, because it just gets this really weird pulsing effect, and it's because there's not much information in the blurred out background. It might try to go to the background to try to figure out if that was actually just out of focus. And so the thing when this happens is usually when you're in front of a window, or you have people in front of a window, and the window outside's overexposed, and it's trying to figure out where the focus is. And typically in this scenario, I just switch right to manual focus because it's not really going to do a great job of autofocusing. If you still don't trust the autofocus in these cameras, there are still some great ways that you can use the autofocus in order to help you capture video. One of the best ways to use this is you can set it to just a single point, or if you're in manual focus, you can actually just tap on an object or drag that little box onto the object, and that will it'll do a little quick pull, and it'll make sure that thing's in focus, and then once it's done, you know that your subject is in focus. And this is super helpful for times when you don't have an external monitor attached to the camera and you're really not sure if your focus is nailed on or not, and you really need it to be. This is a great option in order to just kind of double check your focus. And so don't let this autofocus performance keep you from these cameras. They're actually really great, and they have, they're really cheap nowadays in the used market for something like a GH5S, GH5 II, GH6, kind of in that range. Are actually really affordable right now, and I think they're great cameras to use. So thanks for watching. I hope this video kind of helped you figure out how to use the contrast detect autofocus in some of these cameras a little bit better. So just remember to check out some of these features. Don't be afraid to use autofocus on these cameras. It can actually work really well. So thanks for watching.